Hello dear students. So in this subject hydraulic engineering, today first I'll solve some problem on this harm problem. Okay. In the last class we discussed about this transition with a hump. Okay. Here I have to solve some problems on that transition. Okay. The first one is a rectangular channel has a width of 2 meter, carries discharge 4.8 meter cube per second with a depth of 1.6 meter. At a certain section, a small hump with a flat top and height 0.1 meter is to be built. Calculate the likely change in water surface. Neglect energy loss. This is the specific energy diagram between depth and the energy, specific energy. Here it is saying that the width is 2 meter, discharge is 4.8 meter cube per second, meter cube per second, but the depth is 1.6 meter at certain section. Depth of 1.6 meter. Okay, that means y1 is 1.6 meter, q is 4.8, b is 2. So based on this data, we can calculate this q, small q, that is capital Q divided by b, that is 4.8 divided by 2, which is 2.4 meter square per second per meter. Okay, it is a meter cube per second per meter. Okay, and velocity, the v1 you can calculate, that is q by area. This q by small q by y1. Okay, capital Q by y1b or small q by y1. So this you can write 2.4 divided by 1.6, which is 1.5 meter per second. The velocity head v1 square by 2g we can calculate, that is 0.115 meter. So now we have to check whether the flow is critical or subcritical. So for that we have to calculate the Froude number at section 1. At section 1, the Froude number is v1 divided by square root of gy, which is equal to, if you calculate this, v1 divided by gy, that is gy1 if you put, okay, square root of gy1, then it will be 0.391. Okay, it will be 1.5 divided by square root of g, that is 9.81 into this 1.6. Okay, 1.6 g. If you calculate, you will get 0.391, which is less than 1. So upstream flow is subcritical. So when F is less than 1, then it is subcritical. When it is more than 1, it is supercritical. So E1 total specific energy is Y1 plus V1 square by 2g. So Y1 is 1.6 plus 0.115, that is 1.715 meter. Okay. Up to now, the section 1 we have calculated. Next come to section 2. So E2, okay, the E2 will decrease, okay, because of this hump. The hump is provided with height 0.1 meter. So this E2 will be this E1 minus Z. Sorry, this is, okay, this is E1, this must be E1 minus Z. Okay, E1 minus Z, delta Z, which is 1.715. Okay, we have calculated at section 1, 1.715 minus, okay, minus 0.1, which is 1.615 meter. So this is the E2, this is the E1. Now we will check whether flow is possible or not. Means we will check whether the energy, the critical depth, okay, the depth at section 2, whether it is more than critical depth or less than critical depth. If it will be less than critical depth, then flow is not possible. If it is less than critical depth, this Y2, if it is less than YC2 means critical depth at section 2, then flow is not possible. So you have to check this y2 first. Okay, but that minimum specific you can calculate. Yc, that we will calculate q square by g 1 by 3. So yc will be q square by g. Q is how much? 2.4. 2.4 square divided by 9.81 to the power 1 by 3, which is 0.837. So EC will be the critical or the minimum specific energy. The minimum specific energy is 1.5 YC. So this is the region. Okay, this is the E1, which is how much? 1.715. This is 1.715. This is 0. The delta Z is 0.1. This is 0.1. Okay. So this E2 will be this 1.715 minus 0.1, that is 1.615. So here this is the y1, this is 1.6. This y2, we'll see whether this y2 is in between this yc y1 or it's less than yc. So for that we have to calculate the EC. Okay, this EC, we don't know whether EC is less than E2 or more than E2. Just we have assumed that EC is less than E2. So for that we have to calculate the EC. If we calculate the EC, EC is 1.5 times YC. So YC is q square by g to the power 1 by 3. So this is 0.837. So EC is 1.256. This is 1.256. This is 1.256. It means EC is less than E2. It means now EC is less than E2. So Y2 will be, this Y2 will be more than this YC. Y2 will be more than YC. So now E2, okay, so this will be your U2. So now this will be U2 1.615, which is equal to Y2 plus V2 square by 2G. So if you put the Q value and you can calculate the Y2 value. This is actually Y2, sorry. Y2 will be 1.481 meter. So Y1 will remain unchanged. Whatever Y1, that will remain unchanged. So Y2 will be this 1.481 meter. Okay. Coming to next problem. In problem 1, if height of jump is 0.5 meter, estimate water surface elevation on hump and a section upstream of the hump. Means water profile we have to calculate. Means water depth Y1 and Y2 if the hump is 0.5 meter. In the last problem, it was 0.1 meter. So if it is 0.5 meter, F1 will be same. Okay. This E1 will be same, that is 1.6. Okay, whatever we have calculated here. This Q will be 2.54. This last problem. B1 by F1 will be 0.391. Okay, 0.391 F1. E1 will be 1.6 plus 0.115, that is 1.715. This one. Okay, because there is no chance. Okay, whatever the problem is given, data based on that data, we will calculate the E1 F1. F1 means it is subcritical flow, means in this region. Okay. So now YC is q square by g to the power 1 by 3. The 2.4 square divided by 9.81 1 by 3. It is 0.837. Already you have calculated here. So E2 will be E1 minus delta Z. So which is 1.715 minus 0.5. which is 1.215 meter. Okay, it means that this is the E1, this is the E1, this delta Z is 0.5. Okay, this is E1 is 1.715. 1.715, this is 0.5. So this E2 is how much? 1.215. This is 1.215. We have to see whether this EC, this minimum specific energy, is less than this E2 or not. Just in drawing we have assumed that E2 is more, but we have to check whether EC is less than E2 or not. If it E2 specific energy, critical specific energy will be 1.5 times YC2. That is YC concept, 1.5 times YC. Okay, so 1.5 times YC means 1.5 into 0.837, that is 1.256. That already I have calculated here in the last problem. 1.256. So EC is 1.256, but E2 is 1.215, which is less. So here E2 is less. This E2 is less than EC. That means somewhere here. Somewhere here E2 is here. So that means it is called choking condition. Means flow is not possible. It's called choking condition. To cause the flow, E1 should be increased. This E1, it should be increased. Okay, and the E2 will be remain at critical, the minimum specific energy, and the Y2 will remain at YC. So here E2, E1 we have to increase. So Y1 we have to increase to Y1 dash. So E1 dash will be this EC2. How much it will increase? This minimum specific energy here plus delta Z. Okay, that is 0.5. So E1 dash, so here at section 2, the E2 cannot be less than the minimum specific energy. So it can be minimum specific energy, it cannot be less than that. So that minimum specific energy is section 2 and plus delta Z, okay, that will be specific energy at section 1. So here it will be E1 dash. So Y1 dash plus B1 square by 2G. So Y1 dash plus Q square by 2G Y1 dash square is EC, critical specific energy, plus delta Z. So here we know that EC is nothing but this 1.256 plus 0.5 delta Z. Okay, that is 1.756. It should be this Y1 dash plus Q square by 2G Y1 dash square. So if per trial and error method, Y1 dash is calculated as 1.648 meter. So Y1 dash will be more than Y2, which is obvious. And here Y2 will remain at YC. Y2 will remain at YC, 0.837. Y1 is this 1.6 per meter. Y2 will remain at YC, which is 0.837. Okay. Okay, next coming to this uniform flow. In this uniform flow, the depth remains constant. Let this is section 1 and section 2. This is the channel, and Y0 is the depth, velocity is the V. Here pressure at section 2, let it is P1. Okay, pressure is P1 and pressure force is P1 and velocity head is B square by 2G. Here pressure force is P2. Velocity head is B2 square by B is same B1 B2, so B square by 2G. Here also B square by 2G. Okay, so the net from the section 1, section 2, from the this control volume the weight of this control volume will be downward. In the longitudinal direction, in the flow direction, it will be W sin theta and it will be W cos theta. If it is the theta is the angle with the with perpendicular to this channel. This is the vertical direction, this is the perpendicular to the channel. So this is the theta. W cos theta in downward, W sin theta in the this flow direction. So y1 is equal to y2, which is y naught. A1 is equal to A2, which is A naught. SF is equal to SW is equal to S naught. Means water slope is equal to this friction slope, means this energy slope, which is equal to this bed slope, this S naught. Because depth is not changing, so E will not change. Okay, so B square will not change. Velocity is same, so B square will not change. So energy slope, this line slope will remain constant. It will remain same as this S naught. Q is equal to AB, which is constant. V1 is equal to V2 is equal to V, which is constant. Hence, uniform flow is possible in prismatic channel only. Okay, if Vn constant, Y1 is constant, so obviously A1 A2 will be equal to A2. That's why in prismatic channel, the uniform flow is possible. Applying momentum equation, which says that according to Newton's second law, the net rate of change of momentum is equal to horizontal force. The rate of change of momentum is net horizontal force. So rate of change of momentum will be m2 minus m1 for this section 1 to section 2. So it will be m2 minus m1. Okay, which will be equal to net horizontal force, that is P1 minus P2 plus W sin theta minus friction force. There will be friction force due to bed resistance, due to this bed roughness, and this is the friction force FF. Okay, so P1 plus W sin theta minus FF minus P2 is equal to M2 minus M1. Since it is a uniform flow, so M2 is equal to, okay, M2 is equal to M1, so this will be equal to 0. P1 is equal to P2. Okay, that we can cancel. So only the two terms will be there. That is W sin theta will be equal to friction force. So this friction force will be W sin theta. Means the force, the frictional resistance, okay, due to the bed roughness is equal to W sin theta. W is the weight of the fluid from this control value. This weight you can write unit weight into volume. Okay, and the friction force, what is the friction force? It is the shear resistance. Friction force causes the shear resistance, the shear stress, and the contact area. Contact area is PL. Here this is the channel's cross section. Okay, so this is the P, that is the perimeter. This is the P, that is perimeter, and along the length of the channel, the contact area, okay, will be P into L. For the section 1 to section 2, from the section 1 to section 2, L is the length. If here or here it is P, then total contact area will be P into L. P into L. Okay. Means this is the cross section. This is the cross section. So this is the P into L. The total contact area is P into L into shear stress, which will give you the frictional force. And sin theta is S naught. Sin theta here, this is the sin theta, which is S naught. Okay. This is the slope. Slope means if you take this, okay, then slope will be the, let this is the theta, sin theta will be this by this, sorry, this divided by this divided by this. Okay, if this is the bed, this is the bed, then this will be your sin theta. This is theta. So this divided by this length. Okay, so sin theta, this is, which is nothing but S naught. So if you put this value of unit weight, weight, frictional resistance, and sin theta in the equation, frictional resistance is equal to W sin theta, will get tau naught is equal to gamma w into A by P into S naught. This A by P is nothing but the hydraulic mean radius. It is called hydraulic mean radius cross-sectional area divided by weighted perimeter. So this tau naught is gamma w into R S naught. So expressing abrasive stress, okay, well, the abrasive stress is varies with velocity and density. So abrasive stress in a channel is K into rho V square. So if you put this abrasive stress expression here, then it will be K rho V square will be equal to gamma w R S naught. So V square will be gamma w divided by K rho into R S naught, and this velocity will be equal to square root of gamma w divided by K rho square root of R S naught. This term square root of this gamma w divided by K rho is a constant. This is the unit weight. This is the K. It is that's into channel bed roughness, and this is rho. Rho is the density. So these terms are constant. So these terms are called C, which is called changes constant. It depends upon the channel bed roughness. Gamma w, it is based on the water, and density is also on water. So only K is the channel bed roughness. So this total C, which is constant, is square root of gamma w divided by K rho, is the called changes constant. Okay, and depends upon the value of C, depends upon the channel bed roughness. And this equation V is equal to C square root of R S naught is called changes equation. Okay, where R is the hydraulic mean depth, S naught is the bed slope. So this equation is important in open channel flow. Okay, means the changes equation which is V equal to C to square root of R S naught. Manning's equation. Next important equation, the very important equation in this open channel flow is Manning's equation. It is also empirical equation. This equation is fully empirical equation. Okay, it is a dimensionless, means it is that dimensionally non-homogeneous equation. Okay, the velocity in open channel according to Manning's equation is 1 by n into r to the power 2 by 3 s naught to the power half. Although it is an empirical equation, this equation is vastly used in this open channel flow analysis, where n is the Manning's roughness coefficient. Okay, that is due to this bed roughness. R is the hydraulic mean depth, S naught is the bed slope. So this Manning's equation is very important, and it is dimensionally non-homogeneous. It means velocity is meter per second. If you see the unit here, dimension, unit or dimension, both if you see, if it is meter per second, it is R is the hydraulic mean depth. It is a meter to the power 2 by 3. Yes, there is no unit here. So it is dimensionally non-homogeneous empirical equation. And the discharge using Manning's equation is calculated as velocity into area, which is equal to 1 by n into A into r to the power 2 by 3 s naught to the power half. If you compare the changes equation with the Manning's equation, then C will be 1 by n A 1 by n r to the power 1 by 6. If you put this equation here, if you equate this two, then you will get C is equal to 1 by n r to the power 1 by 6. Next, another formula is there, that is called Cooter's formula. Okay, and this according to this Cooter's formula, it is based on Kennedy's theory. Okay, I'm not going to deep on this formula. It is also applied in the open channel flow to calculate the velocity and discharge. The velocity is estimated as 23 plus 1 by n plus 0.00155 divided by s naught divided by 1 plus 23 plus 0.00155 divided by s naught to the power n into n divided by square root of r into square root of r s naught, where r is the hydraulic mean radius, s is the slope, bed slope. This capital N is called Cooter's rugosity coefficient. This is called Cooter's rugosity coefficient. That is actually depends upon the bed roughness. Okay. Let's solve this small problem. A trapezoidal channel which is 10 meter wide and a slide slope of 1.5 horizontal to 1 vertical. The bed slope is 0.0003. The channel is lined with a smooth concrete and is given. The Mannix softness coefficient is 0.012. Compute the mean velocity and discharge for the depth of flow of 3 meter. B is 10 meter. Slope is given 1.5. Slope is given 1 is to 1.5 is to 1. So first area we calculate, this is the 10, that is the bed width y naught. This is the y naught. Y naught is given 3 meter. This is 3. The A is equal to B plus my into y is 10 plus 1.5 into 3 into 3. Area you can calculate. Perimeter you can calculate of this length plus this length plus this length. This is 10. So this will be 2 twice. Okay, this side will be y into square root of 1 plus m square. Okay, because this length, this will be your my naught, this will be y naught. So this side will be y square plus m square y naught square root. Okay, hydraulic mean interest you can calculate, velocity you can calculate using Mannix formula, and discharge you can calculate. Thank you so much.